Hello, you guys. Welcome to Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. I am your host, Dr. Jefferson, and I am joined by the co-host, Sue. And of course, Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson is a platform where we have conversation about the unpopular and some popular controversial topics that are suggested to us by our viewing and following on this and other platforms. So you may have caught my content there. You may have caught it here for the first time. But if you are a returning subscriber, I thank you so much for your subscription. And I welcome you guys that are not already subscribed to the channel to go ahead and do so now. Because we do have conversation about a range of topics that are intended to bring about accountability that could lead to shifts in the paradigm of the subculture of a Black America in American culture. And we talk about issues that are around accountability, and they have some type of effect on Black and brown or melanated communities. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump right in and give you guys what it is that you came here for. You guys see that the topic suggests there are specific things that we feel men need to hear from women that they need to divest from. Okay, so I don't know. I've thought about it, and I said to myself, okay, so historically, right? How have men responded to us as women when we let them know how we feel about what they should or shouldn't be doing, right? So I do expect to catch a lot of flack from sharing my thoughts and opinions on this show tonight. But, I feel like I owe you guys something juicy and something personal after being off yesterday, even though it was due to a very good reason. Couldn't be here yesterday, but I'm back today. And today is our alternative day for streaming. So I will let Susanna give her first. She has a list, and I have a list. So after she gives you guys a brief introduction of her background and who she is and all of that good stuff, she is my co-host. I want you guys to maybe sit with her, maybe first two, because her list is interesting, I gotta say. But sit with her first two, and as we give you guys the content, I'd like for you guys to give us some of your reflections and some of your thoughts. And even if you are a male directing this thing to other males, that's fine. But as always, I strive to keep a very free, open, and welcoming environment where we can all share our opinions, whether they are, complimentary or symmetrical or not, and without being so disrespectful, right? So that's the primary goal. It's about having an environment so we can have these difficult discussions and learn to be respectful and inclusive. So without further ado, I'll let Susanna do her intro and introduce you guys to her first two things that are on her list of 5 Oh no, I probably got some. I probably have more than 5.
Well, we all have more than 5, but we stick in the 5, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to stick to 5. And also, I gotta give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Wait, hold off, hold on, watch the entire show because the relationship advice topic that we will discuss is definitely worth waiting for.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that at the end. So go ahead, Susie.
Well, hello, good night. Thanks for having me on, Dr. Jefferson. I'm Susanna Stone. I'm a psychotherapist. I work in Atlanta, Georgia. That's kind of pretty much it for me. That's basic, real simple. And that's what I do.
Okay. So let's go to this. Just before we get to your list, I want to go. I have some speaking points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do want to make it clear as to what we're having a discussion about. Because I do feel like some people don't always have a good idea of what modern versus traditional mindsets even are. Um, so modern day mindset versus traditional mindset. Let's define it. Let's define that for the viewers. Okay. I'll start with the traditional.
Right.
Um,
Because we're older.
right. I'll start with the traditional mindset because mine is traditional mindset of dating or the traditional mindset of being a woman is more so your woman born before 1940s to the 1940s to
60s.
just to about a little bit over the 60, 65-ish, you know? So about 39 to 65. Those people are going to have a mindset around what it looks like for a woman to show up and be a caretaker and extremely feminine in her presentation and approach to her man and what it looks like to allow him to lead because the allowance of him leading is a necessary component in order for her to gain what it is that she's looking for out of the relationship with him, which is protection, provision. She's looking for somebody to provide, provide, and to show up and protect her, you know, from any threats. Now, modern day women are a direct result of a far left feminist movement. You know how sometimes you see a problem and you want to rectify the problem. And I feel like both men and women alike initially during the first women's suffrage movements and stuff like that, I feel like both men and women were on par with the fact that women deserve to have rights and be seen as human beings just like men, right? Basic human rights. The rights to freedom and the pursuit of happiness and justice and liberty, right? Those were things that the women's suffrage movement fought to establish support around, which unveiled feminist movement, right? Seeing what it looked like to put that stuff into action, like the actual workable outcome of the theory or the mindset, right?
To have a voice, but to still know and understand what the role of the man is.
Exactly. So, and to be, I guess, for both to have like a certain level of respect for what that looks like, even, and what it stands to benefit both parties, male and female, alike in society. So, modern day mindset of women, in my opinion, is one of, like I said, they take the feminist movement and it goes so far to the left that oftentimes women lose themselves and start to associate things that don't even make sense with men trying to oppress women, or the oppression of women and the oppression of women's right and the removal of women's right, and that kind of thing. So in your opinion, how do you see the mindset of a modern day woman, Susanna?
I think for me, what I see is a woman who talks about being feminine, right? But a lot of the presentation is, um, how would you say, expectations from a man to lead, to make the decisions, the ultimate decisions about things, and just like simple stuff. I think some of the stuff that has resulted in women moving to the far left has been that woman now works and make money, sometimes more than the men do, right? So that has become the leading front for most women in how they manage their relationships. I make more money than you, so I have more say than you. I make more money than you. I lead. I can do whatever I want. You can't contribute to how I be me in any way. And what that does is, for me, when I look at that, through the eyes of a therapist, when I look at that, and we see these men coming in with these issues because they feel out of place. They feel challenged. They see her as aggressive. So I think one of the things I see is women being more aggressive, and without the need to have to be aggressive. You have a right to, as you have talked about, have a right to be a part of the relationship and share what you think and feel. But how do you modulate that such that you allow the man to be a man and to be respectful and to have your own place in that relationship? I think that's a big struggle between men and women, modern day woman and modern day man. There's a struggle with relationship. Who is the one that leads? Who's the head? Rather than how do we make this work for us? Because one day we got kids, we are demonstrating to our children what relationships look like. What it
The
could be like.
interesting Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but the interesting thing in what you're saying is that it indicates, if we think about it from a clinical lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, all of that indicates some history of trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
it's PTSD, and that's what modern day women really are. But I think it's vicarious trauma instead of direct lived trauma,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um
Some of it is that.
because see, I want to clarify, because there is a difference, because I know a lot of people think that, okay, you know, PTSD or trauma is the same as intense stress experienced every day. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit different, because your everyday stress is may not lead to the potential of your life ending,
Right.
right? And PTSD is about an event that a person has experienced that is high stress, but it's high stress because it involves them either witnessing or experiencing a potentially life threatening event.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, the way that we interact and respond to the world around us, and our sensitivities around that piece become extremely elevated and sometimes irrational. So what I see in modern day women is a result of vicarious trauma exposure. When we talk about, when we expose them to the diaries of their grandmothers, aunts, women in their family, or the narratives presented directly from those people, great grandparents, and that sort of thing. And also some of their own lived PTSD from the exposure
Mm-hmm.
to growing up in homes where domestic violence has been extremely prevalent, and the centralized theme of the way the two parents have either collided or found themselves coexisting in the same household, right, by force because of out of necessity. Now, interestingly enough, we're still talking about women. If these modern day women, right, are people that are PTSD or trauma survivors, we're talking about women who still had jobs. They're women that they're having those direct exposures to with the fights with the dads, etc. Those are women who were still able to work. So I don't think it's just about a woman being able to earn money, because even before the women's suffrage movement, women were earning money for their men.
But she understood that very different than the modern day woman.
True. And because the understanding was inclusivity, which is really, really interesting to me when I look at the way the world is unfolding now. Financial insecurity is at the forefront of most arguments in relationships. And it's because people do not have a collectivism type of mindset. It's more like individualism.
It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. I made it, so I can do it
by myself. Independent woman, made by both men and women songs that are constantly playing in the background, but also playing subconsciously, in the minds of both women and men of this particular generation. So these are a bunch of complicated pieces when we look at the modern day woman versus the traditional woman. I consider myself a traditional woman evolved. And I know I get a lot of flack for referring to very traumatic movie titles, but I'm going to refer to The Color Purple, okay? Where Mr.'s dad said she done found her mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I say traditional woman evolved because there is a very warm and very feminine way in which I approach and cater to the needs of my husband and see the role of a man in my life, right? But there is also this very spicy, very mean as hell. It happens with life, okay? Keep on living. There is this very expressive part that presents as well. So what I see is there is space for both to coexist, because there is a space where you come off of that and you realize, like, oh, did I really found my mouth? No, you realize, like, perhaps the words that you have said could have been harmful, right, to your partner. But I think that's the people in general, because I'm going to be honest. If I'm honest, you guys, most people say I'm pretty mean. I think I'm just matter of fact. So I say a thing and I leave it. If you don't like it, oh well. If you don't like it and you feel like you need to divest, do what you need to do for you. Like, if you need to invest, you feel like you need further inquiry, ask the questions that you need to get clarity. And I'm here for both. I believe that people should do the things that they feel like they need to do for them. I respect people and their, I don't know,
decisions and choices.
Yeah, their right to be, but you also need to respect me and my right to be. So we are as we are. So for me, I think I'm still not very modern, but I am very traditional evolved. I still believe in the old things. I believe that a man should open the doors. I believe that he should pull out your chair. I believe that he should pay the bulk of the bills. I should believe that he should be responsible for all of those things. And if he finds that he is inadequate in those areas, then he should be appointing the woman to do those things in his space of representation. So it's still him leading. So it's not the woman being the representative head. The woman still leads from her position of submission, advisor, and the person that's the resource and linkage, etc.
So explain that some more, because I know the conversations I've had with modern day women, I've gotten quote unquote cussed out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the modern day woman mindset is one that removes that respect for a man's position of leadership, because they equate their position in the relationship as it's based on finance. So if I make more money than you,
right,
then I have more power, right? And we know there are always going to be power, differentials in relationships, and they show up in a lot of different ways. Personally, if I had to, make my claim to why I should be the lead, it's because I bring forth life. Let's compare notes now.
And know my role in taking care of those children.
Right.
Not expecting him to come change the diapers and feed the baby.
No, see, I still expect him to change.
Well, you do.
I'm gonna have to let him do that. I'll feed it. I input, you catch the output. We can working together. But the fact that I feel like the fact that women bring forth life means that if there were ever an argument, that would be my argument for why it is that I have the most say. So I just don't make the argument at all, because I like to be in the background. I'm a person that is a natural leader. What most consider to be an alpha. Alphas are natural leaders. We don't scream, "Oh, let me go, let me lead, put me in, coach." It's just a natural thing about the way that we move that just says that we are leaders. I've never been in an environment where people expected me naturally to follow, besides when I first, went to officers basic and all that good stuff. But still, I've been trained as a leader already. So it's that mindset. Like, okay, some people, I don't feel like you can ever teach a person to be a great leader. I think it's an innate skill that we have, and we have to discover. Right? It surfaces itself in our engagements with other people and the way that we show up with other people. I'm just basically a self-starter, very innovative, and those kinds of things. It just comes with the territory. So I feel like modern day women look at the amount of money that they make and they say, well, that's my valuation. That's what makes me a high value component. And I think this discussion about high value men now by people that are a part of MGTOW society, etc., I think that's what motivated that discussion. Now, I don't know. I just feel like that's the discussion that really started this whole divestment culture between Black men and Black women. Because the number one thing that you hear echoed through the halls of our community, all the way from the late 1980s, right, is that Black women are disrespectful. Before that, Black women were considered to be silent, subservient. Because even though the conversations were taking place, they were taking place in the salon, where those men folk didn't exist.
That's right.
So we kept ourselves to ourselves, and there was no having this broad discussion or huge complaints directly to the man, because the man is the person that is the head. And unfortunately, another thing that we also have to accept in that particular time period is that a lot of Black men were on drugs, and they were extremely violent during that time. So it's not even safe for you to let him know how you really feeling. Let's go find something safe to do. You see what I'm saying? So it's that piece. I think that modern day women are backed and supported by police in an abundance. And there is a culture that says that a woman is the victim. Naturally, even though we see that shifting a little bit every once in a while, there is this piece that says she's a victim most of the time. Excuse me. And as a result of that culture that we saw just kind of really run its course all throughout the 90s and early 2000s, women have become man eaters in that way. So I think that that's where that mindset, modern day women are very entitled as a result of all of that. So I think that it's dangerous to be a traditional woman because you lose your voice. But I think it's also dangerous to evolve so far
Mm-hmm.
that you've lost what defines
Thank you.
you in your feminine space, rested respectfully as a woman. And that's where I feel like modern day women are. So I think I kind of covered this next talking point. Have males in society been invalidated? What are your thoughts, Susanna?
Well, I mean, when I think about it, as we talk about women are becoming more forceful and have more of a voice and are able to freely speak up and say what they want and challenge without even thinking about that is this is this okay to do, or should I do this, or not even having a regret of doing or saying something that's not okay. That's what you're doing. You're invalidating the man. Now you see, I think, and I speak from a perspective of a woman who was raised by a man, right? I got a really good picture of what masculinity looks like and what it means that if there's a woman available, what she could represent. So, so I think when woman starts to take on the role of how a man should be presenting in a relationship, you are invalidating this guy. If he doesn't have a mother, grandmother in his life who can have conversation with him about how he needs to address that, how he need that, what that needs to look like for him, he's gonna back down because what he's getting is maybe what men have told him how he should represent, but it's in the form of a woman acting that way. He should be more forceful. He should be given direction. He should be saying yes, no. But now he has a woman who's saying that, and if he says something, he gets challenged. So what does he do? He backs down. And I think when women see men back down, you hear them talk about that, you hear them make statements about you're not a man and you're not worthy and you call you a whole bunch of, derogatory words, which further, erodes this guy's sense of who he is and sense of self. So I really do think so because also, I mean, I think that society also encourages those behaviors to happen, that woman for woman to respond that way to men. And you've talked about the fact that the police is now on their side. Woman called the police in a hot second, and even if she hit him, he's getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she hit him first, he's getting arrested. So he gets invalidated on all levels of who it is to be himself. Because even a man who's in front of him as a police is arresting him when he was assaulted by this woman. So he's not even invalidated, and he's been seen as somebody who's creating the problem and the confusion of what's going on. So what do men do? They back down. They really back down. There isn't a space for them to be able to stand up and say, let's figure this stuff out. Let's understand what's going on. So let's step back and look at this. You've got a woman screaming, and if you respond back, the police is right there at your door.
So, what do you think is the largest slap in the face for men when they do try to show up?
To tell him he's not adequate enough. You're not a man. You're not worthy. You're not making. You are not. You are not the one who's. You are not bringing on because that's what men hear. You are not the one. You're not the money maker of the house. You go
But
to.
does a man not know that already though? When you think about it, like, do they not know? They know.
Yeah,
They
they
know.
know, but it's not. But it's different between knowing and having a woman standing in front of you, telling you all these things in a tone that is really aggressive. Because you're not just hearing, I make more money than you. You're hearing, I make more money than you. You know good. Why am I with you? You need to get rid of you. You're a waste of time. You're not even a good parent. They get the barrage of the put down and the insults. Uh,
Okay, so you think that men, you think they only focus on the negative at that point. So there is nothing positive to really take away from that conversation.
well, if he has uh, and if he's got a tribe in his life of men, he can take that to them to get an understanding about how, what do I need to pay attention to? What pieces of this is might be true? What pieces I need to like ignore because it's not really about me? But if he doesn't, then he's stuck. He's really stuck with having to hear the things she say about him and possibly believe that stuff. Believe that this is really who I am. This is how I'm showing up with her rather than thinking that maybe this is just her stuff. And yes, it's true she makes more money than me, but that doesn't mean I am less important in the relationship. But that's what they hear from women. You are not that important because you're not.
Okay. I believe in, because I'm the marriage and family therapist part.
Mm-hmm,
There's a little bit different way that we approach it. I believe in transparency and
mm-hmm,
honesty in a relationship. So I think it's important for men to know what their woman feel about them. I think they need to know the truth, but I think that it's in delivery. It's
mm-hmm.
relay that
That's
is
true.
the
And that's what they don't. They hear some of the truth in a manner that is designed to put you down, to insult you, to make you smaller, feel small, as as opposed to being constructive. Because there's a very difference in saying, "Honey, what you just said to me wasn't okay because of such and such," as opposed to "You are no good, you are a horrible husband." I mean, and then they get the whole barrage of all the nasty, the insults that design, and that's not about telling the truth.
no.
Well, that's
Well, I
design a
think
hope,
arguments are about telling the truth. I think it's about sharing your truth in the most abrasive way,
right?
because arguments say that you don't feel like you've been heard in a regular conversation.
Mm.
And I think that when you get to that point, the only thing that's why they say a drunk man tells no lies. Like, he's gonna tell the truth because he is belligerent, he's drunk, but the only thing he got is truth. He don't have the cognition to think of a lie.
Mm.
He's
Yeah,
gonna tell the truth because there are high emotions that drive
that's history.
communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the way that he sees things would be the way he expresses things, and he's not going to hold anything back. So there are no filters anymore. And I think that that's the same thing that happens with men and women in relationships. So I don't think that women ever spew untruths when they're arguing. I think that they say things in the most abrasive way that they know humanly possible, because at that point, it's a
Mm-hmm.
fight. Right? So women fight with words. The tongue is what's powerful for a woman to cut a man down. A woman will never be the equivalent of that man that she sees as far as like physical strength,
Mm-hmm.
right? In a relationship, she'll never be that same. Your typical woman doesn't see herself that way, so she's not going to approach her guy in that way. And the other piece is she's hoping that that guy that she's with, if she's married to him, if they're in a relationship long term, etc., she's hoping that he's her protector, not her enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
there is that piece. Now, I think that when men, I think for so long, right, women have been allowed to just beat up, beat up, beat up, beat up, beat up, beat up verbally on men. That now that men are kind of telling us how they feel, we're now on the defense. And I think that that's what modern day women are. We're defensive people who can't take the truth. And this is what has become of society.
So it's reverse.
You think it's reverse? Men giving us a dose of our medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Put my lips at home. I guess.
It might be reverse. Because I still believe that you can tell somebody your truth without being offensive. But women take we take that stance to that's the argument is the opportunity to be as nasty as you are going to be and not regret it.
Let me tell you,
we do that.
Men constantly have made the argument that women will never admit that they're wrong. Like I see it posted on Facebook everywhere all day.
Men need that, by the way.
Men are more quick. Okay, so think about it. Historically, men are quicker than women to admit that they're wrong, even when they're not.
To end the argument, or to end whatever their action.
Make them shut up. Get out of their face. Mm-hmm. So let's agree on that. Men historically have been the person who will always say, "Oh, I was wrong, baby." Half of the time they saying they're wrong and they sorry and they don't even know what they're saying sorry for. That's the reality, okay? However, I think that women have a problem with admitting that they were wrong or they could have done things differently because it says that they are lesser than or they're succeeding to the guy. You know? Mm-hmm. Oh, that lip stuff is horrible, y'all. Let me tell y'all, don't do this.
What's that?
Nabla.
Oh, don't do that anymore.
Lip color is from.
What color is it?
Ulta.
What color?
No, I can't see that.
I'm trying to think if it would look good on me.
You are more than well. Alter ego.
Yeah, that's what you got on your lip and all. Here you go.
Alter ego. It feels like it's literally dry.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Trash it.
That's the kind you have to wear with the lip oil.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good God. But so, I think that men are invalidated in conversations with women that don't want to hear them. Because at that point, we start to shut them down. We hear what they're saying. And half the things can be true. Mm-hmm. But it's just the fact that the delivery in which the men are now saying the things that they have to say about what they expect from women, it's the way that they say it that offends so many women. And then on the defense, we are invalidating them because what we're saying is, oh, you don't have a right to tell us that we can't wear weave. You don't have the right to tell us we can't wear our wigs. You don't have the right to tell us we can't wear our lashes. You don't have a right to say we can't wear our makeup. You don't have a right to say we can't get BBL. Because guess who like it? You.
And no, if you don't, I know somebody else who will.
It's still a you though. That's what it's a penis holder. That's what I call them, penis holders. Okay. And for all the trans women out there, I'm sorry, sweetheart. If you still have a penis, you're still a penis holder. Some of you are very beautiful. But hey. By the way, you guys, a trans woman won Miss USA, or was it Miss America? Miss USA.
Miss USA.
Yeah, just yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever it was. But I posted that. I didn't vote.
I don't even know what's going on.
Me neither.
I hadn't watched this season in a long time. I wait for Miss Universe. That's usually what I look at.
See, I never knew the difference. I'm not a pageant kind of girl, so I don't like women to be.
Well, you have to win your state to go to Miss America, right? To win Miss Universe, to go to be Miss USA, to go to either Miss Universe or Miss World.
Off my lips, I feel.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so moving on, you guys. I feel like. Let me know if you guys feel like males have been invalidated and that's the reason that they've started Sprinkle Sprinkle movement. The Sprinkle Sprinkle movement, or where men are saying, I think jokingly, I hope jokingly, They're moving and they're resting in their feminine space. Pay for their babies. So
it's kind of a little insult to women. Okay.
It is. It is. So, do modern day men hate modern day women? Oh man, you guys, let me tell you, I have to apologize, man. Why did I put a lowercase m on men?
Well, that's a slip, honey.
Maybe my inner self.
Freudian slip, as we say in our field.
Let me go correct that for you guys. I know how y'all do on these.
Well, it's too late now. It's there. You cannot do it. You can't fix it. Correct.
Look, the internet is forever, but they'll say I fixed it.
It's already in the brain.
Yeah, they're leading with that. They're like, oh, look what she did. I lowercase hate too, though. The H and hate.
That's okay.
There you go. So, do modern day men with the capital M hate modern day women with the capital W?
I think they dislike their behavior. Yeah.
Okay.
The attitude that comes with when we're having a conversation, they don't like that. They don't like, because I think men still thinks that when they're having any kind of discussion with a woman, she's supposed to agree and not supposed to, in a lot of ways, have an opinion that's vastly different from his, because it's seen as a challenge, as you're challenging. And sometimes some of those, when that often happens, then you start hearing disagreements and arguments. And sometimes on both sides, they start to put each other down.
Okay. I think that's a fair assessment. However, I do think that there are men in MGTOW society who definitely have divested from modern day American women. Now, and the interesting thing is, like, they're doing all this whole passport bro movement and stuff like that, trying to go to other countries and get women. It's in the water, man. I'm just going to say that. It's in the water. So it doesn't matter if you go and get a woman from Guatemala, Honduras, Turkey. It doesn't matter where you get her. She's still going to be diluted by what is now modern day mindset. It's a worldwide movement in the same way that you passport bro MGTOW movement men are a worldwide movement. So I think that modern day men do not like the way modern day women move, because they're now asking for money to go on a date with them. And I think that's ridiculous. And, I don't care about the flat caught from it. But look, ladies, you cannot tell a man that you want him to pay you to go on a date with you. I agree that he should pay for the date. But you should not be saying, oh, well, my wigs and my weave and my hair and my nails and my blah cost this much for the date. If you don't have all of those things together, then you should not be
going on it
in the first place. And you should let him know, look, listen, bitch broke. I'm sorry. I ain't got no money. I get it that you like me. I'm beautiful. I'm, your cup of tea or whatever, but I just don't have any money. So right now it's just not an ideal time for me to go on a date. I want to look my best. And here's the thing. If you're worth it, you're worth it. I cannot say that I have ever had to ask a man to do anything. I just haven't. If you're in my life, and that's even men that I'm not even dating, they just show up because that's what they do. I do not know any of these men that I talk about on my show. I have to say that. I have to say that. I feel like one of my sons is definitely turning into one.
Two, maybe.
Making suspicion that he's turning into a MGTOWer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how you do that. But yeah, I really do. I think so, because he's just, that's life. Yeah, but see, the thing is, I can kind of see. I can kind of see why he feels the way he feels. Like, women between the ages of 20 and 30, 20 and
Mhm.
35, the mindset is one that is not one of accountability. It's one that is gold digging ish. So if I were a man, I'd be running as well. The thing is, I think that men who have it, they have it, right? And I think historically, and even men that I know in my history, the guys that I've known, I've never met a man that didn't lead with his pockets. Men naturally will lead with their money if they have it. If they don't, there's a shame factor there. So I think
Mhm.
there's some acknowledgments that we have to make as women. We have to say, listen, I understand. If you're doing all of this, then that means you don't have it. Let's see what we can do or not.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
Because it's okay for you to tell that guy, like, listen, I'm out of your league. This just isn't going to work for me. I just don't think I'm looking for a man with more financial stability. It's okay to
Mhm.
let him know, but my problem is with women that of modern day who are just juicers. They get what they can get while they get it.
Because what do you mean by more maybe he's financially stable, but he's just not making the amount of money that that woman wants him to make. Like, how do you decide he's financially stable?
That's a good question.
Because you basing that on you what your expectation of what kind of finances a man should bring. Does he have stocks and bonds and, and CDs and is he making several hundred thousand millions? I mean, because that's what you're basing it on. But a guy making 70, 80 could be financially stable because he's sort of living within his means and being able to do the things that he want to do. And now he's got a woman who wants more. So now he's not making enough for her.
I think those are great observations. I'm not getting to my list yet. It's not time. But
But
I think that is something that does have to be discussed. I think that there is, so that's the purpose of that discussion, right?
mhm,
Every woman, I believe that God gave man the authority and the direction to go and find his wife. However many women that looks like him going through, etc., right?
mhm,
But I think that a man has the magnetized pull, gravitational pull towards
mhm,
what is to be his good thing. I think
mhm,
that a woman is given the gift of discernment to be a complement to man's magnet, right? To let
mhm,
you know, yes, you have been drawn to me, magnetized because you're looking for a vagina, because you have a penis and penis holders do that. Or you have been drawn to me for the right reasons. We have great complementary energy. Let me help you help us build to where we need to be. Right? I
mhm.
think that that's a woman's job. But the problem is, so many women are just impressed by men coming to them and being at their feet, as you will.
Beck
Right?
and call. Mhm,
Right. And I think that that's the issue with modern day relationships because the trust factor is a huge one,
mhm,
right? So it's like I don't trust you anymore because what I know is historically you women are gonna juice me and I'm trying to run like with track shoes. That's what these men are trying to do.
mhm,
So I
mhm,
feel like it's one of those things where men have learned to protect their pockets. And if they're protecting their pockets, then we know men to historically have led with their pockets, right? Their finances.
mhm,
They're also protecting themselves from man eaters, which are those types of women.
mhm.
And I think that it comes off as hatred because they are angry at how much they've been taken advantage of and how much they've lost and haven't recovered yet.
Mhm.
Those are my thoughts
Mhm.
around that one. How do you feel?
I agree with you. I totally agree with that. I think, and I think woman usually throws it in his face, lack of a better way of saying that, but usually throws it in his face how inadequate he is financially. And for a man, um, I don't need you to tell me that. I know I may not be making as much as you are, but if we are in a relationship together, how are we joining our assets so that we could build, be able to build a foundation, a financial foundation for us and for our family? I think modern day women do not think about that. Traditional woman understands that. Modern day women don't understand about building to create a financial legacy. Mm-mm. No, ma'am. They really don't. Because I think, no matter what the guy's salary is that why you married him or wanted to be with him? Because if
I think that I
you
think
want somebody who's stable, so what does that mean for you?
right, right. Because I think that financial stability is not something that modern day women are considering. I think that what they are looking at is financial positioning. So, what's the
Mm-hmm.
current financial position? That's what they look at. They're not looking at the full testament of whether or not
Right.
you're building or have acquired generational wealth. They're not looking at any of that
No,
because,
they're not thinking of when they're 70 that they have no money,
right,
no
and
assets,
because they don't
nothing.
care about that. That's not what they're concerned about. Their concerns are not there. Their concerns are very much in the here and now, and
Mm-hmm.
you see billions and billions of dollars going into body modification. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there is a deeper issue that women have, and I think to me, I definitely feel like it was created by men and their preferences. But I think that there are so many women who are afraid to admit that the reason they're doing all these modifications are for men because men are saying that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there is something about taking accountability that I think that modern day women, they just they're quick to divest from that. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's just how I feel. So I think that that goes to takes us into our next topic. Is marriage worth the investment? Is it worth the investment for men? Is it worth the investment for women? I don't know.
Well, what do you mean by with the investment? What
What do
does
you
it
put in? Because
you
I think
understand?
that that's not a real consideration that people give. So when people think of marriage now, they think
Mm-hmm.
of the ring, they think of the
Mm-hmm.
ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't think of what it truly takes
To
to create a
eight.
marriage. Because a marriage is not. I know people think about the legal logistics of it all, right? File for a marriage certificate, get their marriage license. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they do. No, marriage is a union between
Mm-hmm.
people, entities, right? Living, breathing entities, and a spiritual entity. It's more so. It's not about the ceremony. I don't see it as the technicalities that are associated with it. I see it as its true meaning. That's me combining my will, my soul, my body, my essence, my spirit, everything with you, right? You, whoever my partner is, so that
Mm-hmm.
we can build generational wealth in every way that wealth can be
Mm-hmm.
established by a marriage, right? So that's not just money,
Right.
right? So that's spiritual wealth, moral wealth,
Mm-hmm.
ethical wealth, right? It's all those things, educational wealth, knowledge base that allows someone to pick up the torch and carry on our legacy going
Right.
forward. So when I say is marriage worth it, is it worth you
Mm-hmm.
risking everything that's out here in these streets and dedicating yourself, your time, your energy to this covenant? Does it pay off in the end? What do you think?
It can. When you're asking a woman who's divorced. I mean, I
I
still
think
think it's
divorce
worth
is
the
a mindset
investment.
too, though.
I still think it's worth the investment. I still think it's worth the investment. But I think for some of us, as we get more into the marriage, we have to then recognize that we don't fit the expectation. It's we don't fit really the expectation, or we can't live up to the expectation that we think this should look like. Oh, and it's not even that he doesn't fit. But we have to take a look at us. Maybe we are the one who doesn't fit this. Because you know what happens in a marriage oftentimes is you blame the other person most of the time for all most of it, if not all of it, not acknowledging your part in how things went different directions to when you started out this union. So maybe I didn't fit.
Well, I really think this is what I think. I think that marriage is a mindset, but also divorce is a mindset. And I think that a piece of paper does not determine whether we're married or not.
No,
It's our mindset that determines whether we're married or not. So when you're fully vested in another being and in a relationship, this other living organism, if we recognize the relationship as a living organism as well, then it means that no individual in the marriage could ever bear responsibility for the end of a marriage, right? Because essentially it doesn't end. I think that divorce is something that happens, but in the aftermath of divorce, you find out that divorce is impossible, which is why your marital vows speak
till they do us by.
exactly, because ceremonially speaking, that's meant to help you understand the magnitude of the commitment that you two are making
Right.
before the eyes of God and man, right? So the reality is, even though we do divorce, we can't divorce because God said we couldn't. And even though we like to say that we have free will and all of that great stuff, that's beautiful. It's all well and good when we say that. But the reality is, who's got the playbook? Okay, we're already predestined to go down a path. Sometimes we have to go down these paths in order for us to discover what it is that God wants us to see clearly. Because we have a process that allows us to live in these delusional bubbles of, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, I can do this. But you can't do anything without God. I think that God is the head and the center of everything that we do and we think and we feel and we move, right? So I think that we oftentimes forget that piece. It's the largest piece to me. So I don't believe that divorce ever really happens. I believe the evolutionary cycle of development takes place and there's nothing we can do about that. Sometimes our interests are different and we grow apart. So what it does is it causes us to divest from those parts of that person that we call ourselves married to, right? And I think if young people had the right playbook, marriage would be worth the investment. But I think that because they do not have the right playbook, I feel like marriage is never going to be worth the investment because people are of the mindset until it's too late that they can walk away from a commitment that they made to God because they have no belief and no faith in God. You see what I'm saying?
Because the human, that's the human that's speaking, not the spiritual part of it. You develop that much later in life, believe it or not, much later. Much the longer you stay married, the more the potential to really develop that spiritual connected in a way that's different than the beginning of the marriage. Sometimes it's really too late, or sometimes when you get to that, you realize we're not connected.
But the reality is, when we think about my traditional women, right?
No.
Traditional women already had the right playbook. They were raised by women who very much believed that God was the center and the head and the life, right? And it was easy for them to follow the guidance of their husbands because, in order for their husbands to take them as a wife, the fathers who married those women off required that that man be a God-fearing man.
Absolutely.
So if he submits to the authority of God, then a woman must submit to the authority of that man. So when we think about it, if that's the playbook you're being raised with, you don't divest from your husband. You might divest from the things that he does. You might remove yourself from the things that he's into. You might remove yourself and your existence from his mindsets that are not conducive of the survival of your relationship and the thriving of your relationship, right? But you never divest from marriage. That's why they say a praying wife, right? A family that prays together stays. That's what that's about, because a woman is supposed to lean on the authority of her spiritual guidance in order for her to attest to and to gain the input of God into the situation, because God's always there.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's a silent partner. I think that's the purpose of prayer and meditation. We got to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to let out from our mouth, from our lips, right? From our consciousness, what it is that we truly desire and what we think we desire. And then we got to learn how to sit quiet and get real still and listen for the word of God and let Him guide what we do next, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that man has placed this process before us and made us feel like we were more superior. That's the God complex that exists inside of man. Yes, we're made in His image, but we are not Him, right? So it gives us this authority, it makes us feel like we are free, but we never can break hold of the thing that guides us to be concerned about those people. If you've ever been married to a person and you got a divorce from that person, or you left the person, right? Not even a person that you went through the whole legal process of marrying, but a person that you're really connected with. You ever get away from a person and you can't stop thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
And you call them right when they need you, because you just feel like something isn't right. You just concerned, right?
It still connects. Mm-hmm.
Right. Those are soul ties. And those are the things that we don't have control over. Those are the things that our creator has the control over. So I think that defines where we have the capacity to grow into our understanding of what marriage actually is, the institution of marriage actually is. And if we had that playbook, right, led with that understanding, both male and female, marriage would totally be worth it, because there is never an empty investment.
But the human side of
You
us don't see
understand the
that.
risk, but that's still human.
Mm.
There were humans raising those women, just faithful women, right?
Yeah.
Raising women and faithful men raising those men. So if you have that mindset conditioned within you, marriage is worth the investment. Because the reality is, you're still building something that is going to contribute to a lifelong legacy until you're no longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, divorce doesn't define our exit, because I don't believe that we have control over our exit or our entrance in the processes in this world. I'm not of that belief. I don't believe that that's a human thing. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and we're placed right where we are because of
That's supposed to be.
So I think if we get back to the old ways of properly conditioning and give the playbook to these young people, right? Then yes,
marriage is
it would definitely be worth it. You know what I mean? Because we'd be moving to a common goal. But when we think about some of the destruction and some of the death and all of these atrocities that we hear from these relationships with young people and the way that they end, it tells me that they just have not gotten the right foundation, right?
Level of guidance.
Okay. So let's hear Sue's list. Now we're down to our list of 5 things, our top 5 or more.
Our top 5 of what we
feel men need to hear from women that they need to divest from.
No side chick.
Man, she said y'all gonna have to let go of the side chick.
Yeah, you. How could you be invested in me if there's somebody at the side? Can't even begin to think of wanting to be invested in me if you've got somebody at the side. That person at the side kind of means, just in case this doesn't work out, I have somebody, right? No side chick. And there's no need to lie. Be upfront. Be honest. Right?
That might be able to be honest and be upfront, because lying is like, historically they say men lie because they they feel. I'm just saying what they say now.
They
I can't
feel.
fix my face right and say it, but they say that men lie because they don't feel safe with women. Blink twice if you don't feel safe. They be blinking
Lying is a
twice,
choice.
4 times.
Lying is a choice. You make a choice to not tell the truth. So lying.
Yeah, so you can save your marriage. They say these men out here lying because they're trying to save their marriage.
No, they're not. They're lying because they know they did something they should not have done in their marriage, and it's gonna cause contention if the truth comes out, and he doesn't want to deal with that because whatever the reasons are. No lying or cheating. I forgot. It's not just no lying. It's no lying or cheating. Why you
Yep.
don't need a side chick? Why do you need a side chick? Never expect a woman. So number 3, never expect a woman to pay for a date. Never. Please don't. When you meet a woman and you all are in the date, because nobody dates anymore. By the way, there really is no more. That's a whole nother. That's another podcast. Nobody dates anymore. So nobody really gets to know each other in a way that they should to decide whether this person really is aligned with you at all. But in any event, men should be expected to pay for the date.
Okay.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know. There's no time frame, but I think if you all have been dating for 7, 8, 9 months, a year, if she wants to take you out, that's okay. But the expectation shouldn't be if I take you as a man, I take you out, I pay half and you pay the other. Or I took you out this time, you need to take me out next time.
It's not.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No.
Hmm.
No, because you see what that sets up for us as women is that we now have, and if we're making more money than him, we've got more control.
Does it though?
Yeah, it does. If I have to go take him out and pay for the meal, what's the point of him being there?
You don't think that's the
No,
men
no,
like
I think that's what they think.
level the playing field and hope that women will be more responsible with their choices when they date? Because like women do have a tendency, especially modern day women, to date irresponsibly. So to basically just multi-date just so they can get a free meal instead of
Mhm.
investing in a man and trying to really get to know him and reel him in to allow him to court her.
Well, he pays attention on the first date, and that comes out the first date, and then he makes decision. This is not going to work for me. This chick is not going to work, and he tells her the truth. This is not going to work. Don't lie. Right? Number 4. Okay, stop expecting to go to bed with a woman on the first time you met her.
Okay.
No,
So that means why do you think they
know how to
expect
date.
why do you think they expect to go to bed with a woman on the first date? He might just want to go to the back seat with her.
Why is a woman you don't know, you just met, that your thoughts are, let's have sex, let's ponder,
Because he's horny.
yeah?
Because men have issues with their hormones and they always want to be whores, you know?
We have issues with our hormones too, because we're engaging in the behavior with him. It's not just him, but we're talking about men, right? So you want to know that this person is right. It feels right for you. You met when you engage in sex so early in a relationship, the dating is over. Because for a woman gives her body to a man that she expects to be a partner. We don't. So once you sleep with a guy, this is my man. Or I don't know, maybe the modern day woman has a different perception about that. But relationship changes once you once sex become part of
The
this
dance that you're
relationship.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
You think so?
Yes, it does.
Well, what if she's just horny?
But what's that about for her? It's he should be able to say, "Hey, look, we just met. Hold up, let's back up a little bit.
Hey, if it's
We really
early
want to get
Davis,
to
how
know
are
you."
you?
Huh? Oh, so,
What are your
Hey, man.
You might need to rewind a little bit so you can see. You can see Susanna's list because she's on number 4. She's on number 4. She's on the roll.
I could tell him. Number 1, no side chick. Number 2, no lying and cheating. Number 3, never expect a woman to pay for a date. Number 4, stop expecting to go to bed with a woman on the first time, your first date. Know how to date and be responsible reproductively. It takes 2 to create a baby. Woman should not be the one who has to use protection only. Men should. There are diseases that's out today that wasn't around in my parents' time. Well, wait a minute. Let's take that back. But yeah.
So the diseases were always around.
They were always around, yeah. They were different.
And this is the list. This is our top 5. Our list of top 5 things that men need to hear from women that they need to stop doing. They need to divest from, or they need to reshape, or they need to start doing.
Wear a condom. Not depend on her being on the pill or an IUD or whatever. You wear a condom because you don't want to create a baby with this woman you just met.
Well, now.
And she should expect that.
Okay.
That's my 5 times.
Okay.
I just think in the sexual revolution, we both need to be responsible, not just woman. Woman has always been the one who has to be responsible for the protection.
You think so?
Yes, ma'am. Woman has always been responsible. Be the responsible one. So that when she gets pregnant, it's her fault, especially if he didn't want a baby.
I don't think so. I think it's the woman. So I think that there is an argument that my body, my choice, right? So I think that that's men trying to give women autonomy over their bodies. When they are asking, do you want me to use protection or no? Like, are you on the pill? That's a woman having personal autonomy over her body, according to the women's rights movement, reproductive rights movement. So we, oh no, you got to tread lightly around that now, you know.
So it's okay to ask her if she's on the pill, but it's okay to recognize that the pill is not 100%. She can get pregnant, and she could have a disease that you can catch, you can get, and never get rid of. That's where the condom comes in. You should wear a condom because
diseases typically are not given; they're typically created between people.
Okay, but she may have something that you don't have.
But yeah, they're not created in the way people think in general. So he said, the official urban therapist, before I get to my list, he says that you created a modern day woman list.
No, sir. I am not a modern day woman.
You said your list is modern day women-ish.
Okay. No side chick. No lying and cheating. My dad would never have allowed my mom to pay for them to go out if they've gone out on a date. No way.
Yeah, but do you think so when you say no side chick though? These modern day men are invested in side chick.
I know, because they're not their intimacy is not what they're into. It's sleeping with a woman. That's what they're into.
Well, then, can we agree that there you go. That's gonna do better. Can we agree that traditional men were not into intimacy as well? They were into building their legacy.
I'm sure they were. But she had a dad who checked him out. The traditional woman had a dad who checked him out before they went anywhere.
Right.
And checked them out when he brought her back home.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That beckons another conversation about what were the goals of traditional men. The goals of traditional men were not of intimacy. They were there to create their legacy line.
But they
They're not
understood.
forgotten.
They understood how the relationship worked.
That is, and they had hookers.
Well, yeah, I mean, this
And
is not
women, they had side chicks.
this
That
is
was
not
the thing.
100%. This is not like one. This is not. Things don't happen like 100%. But
It was a
the
socially
grand scheme,
accepted thing for men to be
absolutely,
whores back then. That's what I'm
yes.
saying. To be promiscuous and be jumping from one woman's bed to the next woman's bed, then bringing their woman back all of the bed bugs.
Right. But that's never been okay. Why do we want to okay stuff like that? That's not okay.
I'm
So
just saying, hey, listen.
that's
I'm not saying I
the
agree.
reality.
I'm
The reality.
saying that is a reality
Yeah.
of that time period, and that's
Mhm.
coming from the men in my life as well. They were very upfront about the
Mhm.
realities of back then. Now the thing is, it doesn't mean that that's what a man has to do, and that kind of goes to some of the things that are on my list, because I think men have to stop looking at popular trends and redefine who they are from within. I think honest self reflection and accountability is a necessity. I think they
Mhm.
need to stop jumping on and hopping on the next train of popularity, because they start to lose individuality and a sense of self. Because some of these men that are jumping on this Me Too train are otherwise very qualified, high value men, and not in the way that they've now determined high value actually fits the bill for women, because it doesn't. It's not your
Mhm.
money. I mean, as far as like morals, ethics, the things that actually are important when we're talking about building a legacy. So I think that's my number one thing. Okay. My number two thing is the death of Beijing. I think the black hair beard stuff that they put in to create a hairline where a hairline doesn't exist,
Oh, jeez.
I think they need to let that go. If you don't have it, you don't have it. If you don't have a hairline, you don't have hair, let it go.
So that's what they say about us with the wigs and the eyelashes and all that stuff.
I'd rather the men go back to wearing wigs. Men wore them first. Men, they did. These are facts. Facts are men wore wigs before women did.
Yes, they did.
I'd rather you go back to wearing wigs. Let's all wear wigs.
No, let them
I'm
go.
okay with wearing my real hair. I'll wear my real hair. You can do a wig, but let go of that Beijing. It's
Yes,
got
let
to
go of
go.
that. Right. They can go ball.
Uh-uh.
Men are
Don't go
sexy
ball.
ball.
Don't go ball. Don't
Yes,
go ball.
ma'am. Don't wear wig then.
Hold on, let me see.
That's two.
Hold on, I'm about to send him the link. How do I pay?
Oh God, no! They better not wear wig because it's worse than some of what women have on.
You got the link. Now listen. That's my number two. So the first one, of course, is for men to be more accountable, self-aware, work on the issues they found, and so they don't have to be defensive all the time when women are telling them they need to get it together. They just need to be themselves. So stop leaning and depending on other men for validation. See validation from within, because you've done the work on yourself and you spiritually aligned yourself so that you can do better, be better, and move to a better place, right? Now,
Number two.
my number two is death of Beijing. And I'm not playing. Y'all might think I'm playing, but I'm telling you, okay? Y'all don't want to hear my list for women.
No, we're talking about the men tonight.
But the death of Beijing is a real thing, okay? I think that's got to go. My number three is dress appropriately in a way that shows that you have a high esteem of a high, degree of self-respect, and that you respect other people around you. Because I feel like every time I go everywhere I go, I see the ass of a male and the crack of the ass of a male, but he has pants on with belts. There are belts on the. I don't understand. I'm so confused, and I'm asking you guys to do this for me simply because I feel so confused. Like, and I'm staring. I just want you guys to know that if you're in front of me ever, if you see me behind you ever, I am 100% staring at your ass because I'm trying to figure out why is it there.
Yeah, because it's not in a sexual way. You stare. You like wondering why the hell does he have it out the way he
Yeah,
does.
I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand. I am legitimately trying to understand the fashion statement. Okay, I'm trying to make it all make sense. You guys, fish over there. Here we are.
I love that guy. I really love
Lord Jesus, y'all that came up with a list.
We got a list. We got a list of 5 things that men need to stop doing or start doing, just for the sake of us.
Yeah, that's number 3.
So I'm gonna mute up. I want to hear your whole list before I say something. Go ahead, continue.
And then you can have a list too, for men.
Yeah, be thinking about your number 5. Think about your top 5. For men, it's got to be for men.
All right.
Bet. Don't get a good thinking that you're gonna say, "Oh,
all right."
That's later on in the week. We ain't there yet.
Now continue. I'm listening. I'm gonna mute up.
Number 4.
Okay. So my number 4 is better communication. I feel like communication with your fists and with guns and with knives, I feel like all of the violence towards these women is unnecessary. And I really feel like it's become so heart-wrenching now, because what I'm seeing is more men are taking to acting demonstrating the acts of violence on the women's children. So fuck. Like, if she's on your nerves, if she annoying, if she's a pain in your ass, if you know she dug in your pocket so deep that you don't even know how to find yourself anymore, don't kill their children. Like, don't do that. I don't know what you should do.
Leave.
Stop spending the money. Stop spending the money. Don't give her access to the funds. Anything. Have a conversation.
Walk away.
Yeah, but it requires communication, because here's the thing. I'm not gonna be like I'm naive and I don't understand what happens when you walk away from a woman. Okay, we don't do that. We'll be accountable. You walk away from a woman and a woman is heated and she got something to say and you ain't hearing her. A woman is likely to be the most violent thing you ever encountered as well. And it ain't safe for you to walk away from a woman. Don't turn your back. No. Don't do that.
Call the police.
I suggest having a conversation. Okay? Having a conversation. I featured on my TikTok recently a video from Texas where an incident happened. I think it was last month, April. So month before last, end of April. I think it was end of April it happened, where the young lady called the police, and the police police body cam video is what I shared. And she had called the police about her being in a situation with a guy in the house, and he had financially isolated her from her credit cards. She was all the way in Texas from like New York or somewhere, living with him, paying the bills. She was paying the bills. And it was a property of his father's, I think, or a family member. She said basically the father and the family own the whole street, practically. And she didn't know anybody there, So after she called the police put the weight on her, told the police clearly. And her 8-year-old daughter, I think 6 or 8-year-old daughter, told the police that he had brandished a weapon, threatened to kill him, all that good stuff. Police left. And he did kill him. He killed both of them. So the thing is, like, and he's not an isolated event. Yeah, I know, like, a lot of people want to say, "Oh, you talk about isolated event."
No, those are not.
I can run down at least 50 scenarios that have happened exactly like that in the United States since that day. Okay, and we barely at 50 days. So those are, so here's the reality. Better communication is a necessity as a means to protect our legacy and our lifeline. I talked about the death of the Black community. It's a real thing. We're not far from it. When you look at the violence that's happening in our community and you pair that with the divestment, MGTOW movement and divestment, women deciding to go to other races and stuff and be with them and invest in them instead of in us, our legacy lines as the subculture of Black Americans becomes more and more and more diluted until we're no longer. That's the reality. So I feel like the better communication is necessary in order to decrease the violence so that men are now heard, and we don't necessarily have to be so unproductive. Let's put it like that. Okay. And my number 5.
She's shaking her head. It's not good.
Now, we kind of touched on this earlier, you guys. When we talked about financial stability, men, you need to stop trying to date while you are financially unstable. And I want to define it for you now. Susanna asked me earlier, but let me tell you, okay? When I say you're dating financially unstable, I'm not talking about by the woman's definition of you having finances for her to spend. I'm talking about you can't take care of yourself. You dating while you know that you living with your mama off of your mama's Social Security. I'm talking about the fact that you got to ask your mama for date funds to take the girl on a date with. I'm talking about the fact that you have never held an honest job in your life for over 30 days. I'm talking about the fact that you don't have a career, you never defined a career, you never thought about a career, and now you are 50. It's too late to get a career. I'm talking about the guy who says that he's going to become a rapper in his 50s because he thinks that he is as popular as 50 Cent. I'm talking about the guy who's thinking because these millennials, these teens, these teeny boxers, what is this, Gen Alpha, them. So they making so much money on TikTok, he gonna get on TikTok and he gonna make people laugh and he's gonna become a billionaire. It's not
the one who drives his mother's car to take you out on a date.
No, he ain't even his mom ain't got no car, she on Social Security. He's riding the bus. You're riding the bus and the train, and that's it. Like so man, be able to take care of yourself. Be able to take care of your expenses and have a plan as to how it is that you're going to be able to take care of a woman that you're welcoming into your life. And if you're dating and you know that you got to have flexibility because you are not aesthetically pleasing in the face, then also make another consideration and think about what it looks like for you to now date a woman who has kids and all those things that otherwise you said you weren't going to put up with because you know you got to settle. And in fact, we all have to settle and be prepared for it, and don't be mad about it. Okay? So there you go. That's my list. What you got? What you got? I'm ready for the smoke, y'all. Go ahead. Y'all can tell me what y'all want to say. Y'all can say what y'all want to say.
Now you know good and darn well that a lot of them modern women, they love them homosexuals that you was talking about. Them Jodies.
I'm trying to tell you.
No,
okay?
They love them Jodies from Baby Boy, where they could take care of that dude and let him borrow the car, sell clothes in the trunk, go visit the baby mama.
Okay.
No, they love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're trying to take that away from them.
Look, listen.
All responsibility.
Susanna's list had me like, wait a minute. See, Susanna, you know you're going to get the smoke because women don't like it when these modern day women do not like it when you start talking about their reproductive rights. They want their reproductive rights. So they are.
Oh, she does. She has a reproductive right. He does too. He have a right to not have her create a child that he doesn't want.
I didn't hear Susanna's list. Huh? Just tell me your list real quick.
No side chicks. no lying and cheating. Never expect a woman to pay for a date. That's 3. Stop expecting to go to bed with a woman on your first time you meet her. Know how to date. And number 5 is responsible reproductivity. Reproductively, sorry.
So you should be able to see if you look in the private chat, because I had wrote hers down when she was giving it to me. I had typed.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Both of you are responsible for not creating a child that you don't want, not just her. That's why they invented the condom. It's for the man, the pill for the woman, the IUD for the woman, the condom for him.
They got female condom.
Yes, they do.
Yep. So this list was for the women, for them not to do, or for the men not to do. For the
men to stop expecting it to be on a woman to be responsibly reproductively. So she wants men to wrap it up, because they should be taking a responsibility for creating.
No, they both should. But for men, they need to understand that they also have a part to play.
Women don't want that, though. That's what I'm telling you. That's against the law right now. Like, these women,
Then you'll have 5 kids, 5 different men. Because if you
they do.
Well, I know they do.
So that's what they want.
Yeah, they'd rather that, and they'd rather get all these abortions in astronomical numbers instead of take accountability for their reproductive health and their reproductive choices.
Okay, well, I got news for you. In the next 10 years, there will not be any more Section 8. Okay, it's going away. And they already got rid of the $150 check to give.
Y'all better cancel my show now. I believe that y'all should go out there and get that Section 8 and those food stamps. And
no, ma'am, they are cutting off you're not going to have food stamps and that stuff in the next 10, 15 years. No, ma'am.
Slide me y'all card then. I know
they already got rid of washer and dryer and fooling your house. You don't get that anymore, and you don't get the $150 check per child. No, you don't. So they're cutting stuff up.
Well, y'all gotta vote for the people to cut it in.
You make as much as you want. You on your own.
Okay, yeah. Even though I heard that, I don't believe it though, because that's a moneymaker for the higher ups.
It literally
that's their moneymaker. So
yeah.
That's almost on the same level as the pharmaceutical companies.
Keep Americans at their knees so that they never stand up.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's how they make money on us. Keep us at our lowest.
Yeah.
They'll cut down on the check, and they'll make it more and more difficult for you to resign every 6 months. Redetermination. If you miss that date, you don't get a check for a year because you have to reapply. Okay. I'm just telling you. You got 6 kids to feed. Daddy, I'm working. Daddy's in working. You in trouble, ladies. I'm just telling you.
I actually have a list for women not to do on the cool though.
Not today though.
You gotta hold on to the women list. The women are separate.
Yeah, because I already talked about this before, so that's why I like, y'all talk about this?
Tell me what's on it. Tell me what's on
it. What would you tell the 5 guys? What were 5 things?
I tell you 5 things. I don't have to expound on. We will do it another time.
Okay. You can expound on it later this week when we do our show for the women Thursday.
Okay. All right. So my list is number 1, fit. Number 2, friendly. Number 3, submissive. Number 4, respectable. And number 5, communication.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
He said he's not expanding them.
We'll expound on it later.
I'll be interested to see what that looks like. I hope fit include taking off them fly-by-night, long, big bird, snuffleupagus eyelashes. I ain't over here. I ain't even telling y'all because they ain't even on my list, but it is.
We do submit. The modern day woman don't. We do submit.
Well, the interesting thing, I think, we'll talk more about it Thursday.
Because that's why there's that argument. Women do submit.
But see, get into this. We're going to talk about how modern day women do submit. Because listen, I couldn't believe it when I got it across my email, y'all. Let me tell you. There was a video that I saw that kind of spoke to some of the stuff or similar things as was presented in this particular email, right? So our relationship advice discussion topic comes from a 26-year-old female. She's been married for 3 years to this guy. So that means she got married at 23. I remember, was it last week's show? I think it was last week's show where I had a viewer. She came on, I can't remember her name. And remember we had Rush on, I think? And the lady was saying, no, this isn't a topic that young people are worried about. It's the older people that are worried about people divesting from marriage. It's typically people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, blah, 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 right? So maybe she's right. Because this young person got married and she's now 26. Obviously, she got married at 23, 22. I don't know which one applies. I don't know where she is in this 3-year marriage. But so she is an African-American woman and she's married to a guy who is an African-American man. Didn't put that part in there. He's 32 years old. Okay.
So
I thought it was interesting. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys why I thought it was interesting. Because as a marriage and family therapist, I always talk about the phase of life changes, the shifts that phases of life development, human development, right? When we talk about the emotional, cognitive, spiritual development, and oftentimes some of the struggles that men go through, 29 going on 30. I always call it 29 going on 30 syndrome. Oh, child. That's what I always called it. But the reality, it's a phase of life where men are coming into what we call adulthood, mature adulthood. Because we have early adulthood phase of development between the ages of 18 and 21 for men. And sometimes it lingers on until they're about 22, 23. You really see them struggle when they have not autonomized that phase by age 25. And when they get to the 29 and going on 30, they've lost their identity. And it seems like that's exactly what happened with this male. So he now has his male, yes, BF means boyfriend. It ain't his black friend.
Okay.
It ain't his basketball friend. His male boyfriend living with them. And he has now decided to leave her. And the reality is, she says that they have tried going to therapy. He showed up for the one session. And after the one session with a male therapist as requested by him, he then decided that he now wants to leave. And he's only tried the therapy. I think she said 3 sessions. She's been in 3 sessions. He only showed up for the one. And he didn't come back. So he's decided that, she keep asking him to come, and now he's moved the guy in. She, by the way, is the one that agreed to move the guy in. Excuse me, give y'all a little bit of history context. She agreed. We kind of went back and forth in our email. She agreed to move the guy in because that was a condition after the first therapy session, right? When he said that he wasn't going back to the second therapy session. He was like, until you give me what I want, there is no reason for me to go to therapy because there is no us. And then when she asked what it is that he wanted, he said that he wanted the guy to move in. And to give you a little bit of background as to how he found out this guy was his boyfriend versus his best friend, as he previously, the guy and him grew up from childhood, according to her. That's the story that he gave her. And she walked in on them one day after her birthday party. He left early from her birthday party. And his friend was missing. So when she came back to their apartment, they were in bed together. She found them together in a compromising position. Let's say that to keep the show on air, because you never know. Okay. But she caught them in the act. And she was doing all the screaming, hoop, hollering, all that stuff. And both of them said that she was being extra, and they told her that she needed to get out. She told him that he needed to get out and off of her husband. And then the boyfriend said, he's our husband. And that's why I was the best man at the wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I told you you shouldn't have did this, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I love you. They had a whole back and forth thing. Okay. Either way, he decided to go ahead and stay. The apartment that they live in is in her name. The cars that they drive, the vehicles they drive, are both in her name and registered to her. And at this point, she's the only person with a viable, stable, legal source of income. The young man lost his job during COVID. So, and that was kind of like just before they got married. So they kind of went in knowing that he wasn't going to be employed, according to him, right? So he doesn't feel like he has to bring anything to the table because they can afford everything with her job. She works for the state, okay? Now, the thing is, she's asking what she should do. We talked earlier about whether or not marriage was worth the investment. And Susanna presented an interesting narrative. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, Susanna did not know what the topic of discussion was.
Right.
She did not know. Okay. But when I tell you there are extremes to every person's evolution in life, there are extremes. We don't know who we are. We do not know who we are. God designed us as the perfectly flawed individuals that we are. We see our flaws and we try to judge ourselves. We try to judge other people. We try to see how and if and when we do whatever. We say that. But the reality is we don't know what we do until we're in that situation.
That's a human
out to her, because at 26 years old, where you have met this man's whole family, you know his whole family, you know his mom, his grandmother, you know his brothers, his sister, you know his old school coach, child. You know everything about this man, but you ain't know
that he prefers God. Maybe he didn't know that. Maybe this is a development for him over the past few years that it's finally able to, because people deny that stuff because they don't want to be chastised.
They deny it because they know not who they are.
Yeah. Well, they deny it because they want to live also.
They fear what God is trying to reveal to them is a challenge that they must fight. Because the reality is sometimes there are parts of us that we have to fight in order to become who we really are. Because what's there, it's not who we really are, but that's the thing that lets us know once we've overcome it that we are now walking in the light. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, don't let a moment define you.
Yeah. But if they've never learned or thought about how to understand what faith is, they never know how to walk that path. So they still, the human part of them is still scared to show who they really are because another human is going to hurt you. If they have faith in believing that they can be who they are, and it doesn't matter what another human says, that God is going to take care of them. If they don't know that, then they're not going to show themselves until they feel sort of safe enough. He felt safe enough that he could tell this woman, this man could see, because he knows she is not going to put him out. She's sort of a protection for them to some degree.
The amount of love that she expressed that she had for this man, and the amount of acceptance that she's exercised in order just to keep him, it tells me that there is a serious imbalance in their relationship, right? Yeah. When I talk about marriage being worth it, when I said earlier that we sometimes don't have, these young people don't have the right playbook, right? So I mentioned earlier that the woman is given the gift of discernment from God.
Mm-hmm.
A man and a woman are the only two elements that are able to procreate as intended, to extend the life of humanity that was initially given to us, granted to us by God. There was only one intention, right? There is only one intention for humanity that's given directly to us from God. And that is to be fruitful and multiply.
Multiply. Go forth and multiply.
So the reality is, and I know people think like, oh, well, God said lesbianism is a sin. Nowhere in the Bible does it mention that. It says men, because the man holds the key. He made man first, so man could introduce into woman what it is that is supposed to be planted and bearing fruit for this earth, for humanity. So the reality is, when one veers off one way in the beginning of humanity, now we're seeing, I think, at the end of times, that the opposite is veering off in the other direction. Because Eve bit the forbidden fruit, right? So she started sin, right? She started the sin that was directly encouraged to leave that alone. Don't touch that. Just that one thing, right? And then now you see man moving so far off and divesting so far from woman that we can't even do the things that we were put here to do. That would literally be the end of humanity. And this woman is in a marriage where she's married him in the house of the Lord in some way, and she's made a commitment. They've made vows collectively before God and man, and she's trying to stay her course. So clearly somebody gave her the right playbook about the evolution of marriage. And sometimes people find themselves by way of losing themselves and then being forced into dark places where they got to crawl out, right? So clearly she's trying to stay her course. And I would never encourage a person to divorce or divest from a spiritual agreement that they have made with God unless they're ready to go ahead and end life. I would never do that, because I'm not ready for God to stop blessing me and giving me grace on this earth. So what I would say is you need to be diligent and pray and meditate and let God give you the direction in which you need to go. Because I feel so heavily that this right here, it's one of those things that you really don't even know. It's easy for us to say, let him go, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy for us to say, walk away, right? And it's easy for us to say, sometimes you got to take an L to take a W, right? But the reality is, we're talking about you walking away from not only the financial commitment that you made to this apartment, to these cars and all that stuff, right? That this boy is trying to keep, because they're telling her to leave. Okay. Not only that, not only walk away from the possibility of you being able to procreate and bear fruit for a legacy in which you have now invested, 7-8 years total, right? She's known him since she was in high school. If you've known that person for that long and you've invested all of this time in the family and things like that, this boy don't know that boy family. Why he don't know him? He don't know him because he can't. They may not have given him the correct playbook, but they gave him something that told him it wasn't a safe place for him to bring that boy. Mm-hmm. Not with that title. Mm-mm. Not with those facts. You got to keep those details in the dark and keep them all the way in the closet. So I don't encourage people not being able to authentically live their life and be themselves, right? I encourage people to do just that. Live your life, live in your truth. But understand that we all have to be accountable to a higher power. Mm-hmm. I am not a person to tell you how to live your life, but I'm also not a person to tell a person to go and divest from something they have made a spiritual. Now, it's one thing for you to make a commitment or a non-commitment or say verbally that you're gonna divest and blah blah blah. I don't play around when it comes to that kind of stuff right there. Because I'm telling you, I have no God complex. There is no God complex here. Okay, it don't live here. So my advice is for you to get on your knees and pray like you never prayed before. To allow yourself to be mindful and meditate in a way that you have not ever meditated before, and get real still and let God come up with direction that you should be taking. And you better be ready for whatever it is that he has for you, because the reality is this God that we serve works in a weird way sometimes, and I ain't necessarily happy about it all the time, okay? But I am obedient.
Okay? And it always works out.
It does. It always works out. Even when we think it ain't working out, it's still working in our good. And we don't even know. You understand? So I think that's all I got for, because I don't know. You could have said a lot of things. Them people had a traditional wedding too. I was like looking at the pictures and stuff. I was like, "Woo, child! Good luck with that, young man." You know, I don't know what y'all got for her.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give like advice on the situation, but I am gonna say this, that God did provide a scapegoat in situations like that. He did. Matter of fact, Jesus had stated in the book of Matthew, he said that the only way for a man to get out, well, a man and woman get out of a relationship is through adultery. So she actually has that scapegoat to immediately get out, and God will permit it. You know what I'm saying? If that's her choice. Other than that, if that's not her choice, if she wants to stay in it and try to reconcile or whatever the case may be, then it's gonna take a lot. One last thing too is that I believe that the husband part of the denial was in reality of him accepting, but he wasn't accepting because of what you said earlier, because of the shame part of it, the guilt part of it, until one day it was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. You know.
So my question is, do you think he was having sex with his friend the whole time?
Yeah. I'm putting
Either I wouldn't say the whole time, but probably in his mind, absolutely. If it wasn't his friend, it was with some other man for sure. Because he already knew that, he already had them intrusive thoughts in his mind. But it was up to him to either act upon it or not, you know. But finally, he decided that he wouldn't act upon it
because he understood his wife. He knows that it was a safe time, even though she caught him. It was a safe time to allow that to happen because he knew she wouldn't back out.
How do you even?
He didn't know he probably because
I think he knew at the point of him asking her to allow the guy to move in that she would probably let him move in because she had caught him already, right? After her birthday party, but I don't.
I think the husband wants to have a poly relationship too.
Well, they got that already. That's what I told her. At the point where she consents to move, because I was just trying to understand the rationale around that, right? Like around that piece. At the point where you consent to moving the boyfriend in.
Well, did she thought he was his friend as opposed to
no. At the point where she moved him in, that was 3 weeks ago. What, 3 weeks? That was that was a week after they started therapy.
Oh, okay.
So she consented to that poly relationship.
Right. So at that point, she moved him in, according to her, under duress, because she was trying to keep her husband and help them go through therapy and heal the wounds that they had suffered from the betrayal of the affair. And he's real. He's real spicy. You know, the things that she relayed were said to her by both him and the guy, and
the boyfriend moved in. Okay.
Yeah, the boyfriend of him moved in.
They moved in. He moved in.
So my thing is this: why you can't move? Why you can't move with him?
Right. Because
You know,
because she
why I
takes
gotta see
care
y'all
of
having
them.
butt sex every day? Like,
She takes care of them. She's got the car and she got the bills and she's got the
I
house.
know.
They have to know if they leave, they have to go work
Yeah.
and fend for themselves.
So
And that's
what
why
I'm saying.
do
So
that.
why can't we work on our relationship while you're staying with him and y'all both working, showing me that you could do something, provide for me? Is there really, and you know, it made me ask the question: is there really a shortage of males out there in the mindsets of women? Because the reality is, there are no shortages. There are enough lesbian women to gay men to say that the population is still pretty equal, okay, of men and women that want to invest in each other.
Well, she has thoughts of wanting to be part of that relationship that she hasn't shared.
Trust me. The conversations that I've had.
What's going to happen next? She's going to join in.
Oh no.
To hold on to the husband.
No. I had to talk out a couple of times. She is not interested whatsoever. And the interesting thing is, the next layer of it is the fact of her trying to figure out how it is that she works past the issues if he decides to go ahead and be straight again. And I told her, I said he could never be straight again.
He can never be. No, he showed you what he wants.
Once you cross that threshold.
But I'm leaning towards with Susan on this one, because if she's already under the stress of this relationship, she's gonna eventually try to do anything possible to keep it going, including joining into the act.
She is already
to try to keep it.
Well, she was saying that she was uncomfortable with some of the asks,
which he asked
in their relationship. So she was so when she's trying to be with him individually, independently of the boyfriend, because he stopped having sex with her, I think 6 months ago. But and that's why I kind of was asking you guys, did y'all think that he was sleeping with the whole time? Because if he just stopped having sex with her 6 months ago, is it possible that that's when he started having sex with a friend? But the other piece is, when she's now asking him for sex, he's asking her for things that she say are unreasonable asks.
Could you join us? That's what he's asking her.
No, he's asking her to put a strap on and do him because he's a bottom.
Oh,
okay. He's asking her to join them.
Yeah, regardless of putting a strap on or not,
join us.
Well, there's that.
So she is really thinking about that, because she wants to hold on to her husband, because he's got all the control. This is what I want if you want to hold on to me, or else you gotta go. That's what he's saying. And she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want him to go. But
is there any NPS involved with a narcissistic personality disorder?
I definitely I definitely thought of him based on everything that she's given me about the context of the arguments that they've had, the emails that she shared, text messages, you know, pictures of the text message between the two of them. I definitely think there is some narcissistic personality disorder traits that are definitely evident in him, and then also in his partner choice or his boyfriend. You definitely see more antisocial personality or sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah, he's not saying anything because he's got a place to live.
Well, he's the one that's kind of like, listen, regardless of how she feels, this is what's going to be. And I'm going to be here. And she just take that because you've been working all this time. That's what it is. You're going to accept it or you're going to leave. So, and then you still going to have to pay these bills because they're in your name.
Right.
So it's like, get with it or get on. And you still got to get with it because you still got to finance us.
Yeah, gaslighting.
Yeah. So the thing is, why would you... I do think therapy is a component that can definitely help. But the thing is, that person has to go through and do their own deep-seated inner work, right?
Therapy is not going to work while the three of them in the house together. For them.
It could.
Mm-mm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
because from their perspective, if they suggest therapy, that means they have to be some type of compromise that comes out of the therapy itself.
her joining them.
True. And
That's it.
that may be. But the reality is, once therapy is now if they get a qualified mental health provider
Mhm.
who specializes in treating couples in polyamorous
Mhm.
relationships, oh, the boyfriend gonna have their work cut out for him. Because the reality, if you therapy can help.
Yeah. So we'll
Because
send
there
them,
are
we'll
every
send the two men
relationship,
to work.
huh?
They gotta go to work. They gotta work.
Yeah, they gonna have to go to work. You
They
got
have to get a job and pay that car note.
something.
If,
Look, some gotta give. Some gotta give. If
yeah,
I'm paying the bills, if I'm paying the rent, if the rent's in my name, if the car's in my name, if I'm paying the car note, okay, you got the insurance.
You got
hmm
the insurance, you got the car note because I'm paying the rent and I'm
You
paying
got
the
the date
food.
night bills. You got the energy for date night. You got the toy bills. What we do?
yep,
Let's
yeah, but you gotta be some
go.
compromise happening.
Let's
So
go. Like
that's
literally,
what it
you got
boils
the
down to.
closing expenses.
If the two of you can't live up in here and not working, and
Exactly.
contributing, no sir.
Mhm. So
Yeah, because
I agree.
yeah, the last resort is for her to leave, but according to what you're saying about it, she really don't want to do that,
She really
right?
loves him,
She
and that
doesn't want to because there's a part of her is thinking about how she can fit into that relationship.
no, it's a part of her that I think is suffering from the potential for abandonment issues.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
And family of origin.
I got that too. Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'd rather
Yeah.
this is familiar rather than being by herself. So I do.
Or
I
I don't
think
want to
that.
become my parents
Yeah.
because oftentimes, and that's why I tell people that are raising children, and I'm like, I get a lot of flack, and folks are like, oh well, parenting doesn't come with a playbook, or if there's no book on parent, those are lies. There are
Yeah.
several books. There are several books on parenting.
Even if
There
there
are
wasn't, your parents created the book.
Yeah, so you choose what you expose yourself to. We choose when we go in the library, we choose what we read. We don't read everything.
Mm-hmm.
We read what we're interested in. So the reality is there were always parenting books, even back in the 1920s, even back in the 1800s. Some of the original scribes are all about parenting. The reality is we never elected to pick them up because we thought that we were above having to be taught how to be parents from somebody that didn't look like us, for somebody that was not our family, that was not from our own tribe. I think we
Mm-hmm.
have to take accountability for that. So if you were looking for the playbook, you would have got it, but you never sought it out. It was never something you were interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is, we can understand what parenting effectively looks like. We can understand what effective discipline looks like. We can understand what age is recommended to start shaping and molding the child instead of just giving way, giving in to the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can learn all that. We just choose not to. We choose to watch reality TV, chaos, TikTok,
Atlanta wives, this one wives, House of
wives,
Cards wives, of whatever the
drama,
name.
basketball wives, basketball husbands.
hey, let's not forget light discussions with Dr. Jefferson and the fish herb therapist.
Yeah, they ain't watching. They ain't watching us. They gonna get the lessons. They ain't watching us. They don't get the lessons. They rather invest in the toxicity because I think toxicity is what sells.
It's familiar also.
Right.
You know what to expect in that.
You're right. You're right. Because let me tell you, the number one complaint that I get on my channel is, oh, it's illogical. That argument's illogical. That's not right. That's not real. Nobody ever had a relationship like that. What?
And for them, that's true. For them, that's true.
I'm still trying to meet the men that we talk about on this channel. Okay. I get that these modern day men exist, but I don't get them in therapy. Like I can definitely say, and I've treated several hundreds and thousands of people. Okay. I've just never, I'm sorry. I think maybe one male that I've ever given therapy to that has come across my practice personally, and I've treated them, that I can say has anything close to what a modern day man thinks.
Yeah, the modern day guy probably would feel weak if he has to go into therapy, as most Black folks feel like therapy makes them weak. That they're weak if they have to have somebody outside of their little niche telling them how to be.
Well, I think modern day men subscribe to Kevin Samuel's channel.
Yeah, because Kevin Samuel,
and they didn't consider themselves weak, and he was sometimes very harsh with them.
Well, but then I go and see him in an office. They turn on their TV and watch it, and they call him.
Well, some of them had virtual meetings. He kind of got into that little consulting piece. A little bit, trying to do relationship advisement and stuff like that. Sessions for people to come to him for advice around what they need to do in their life with women and stuff like that, or men and stuff like that. So I think that his show was purely for entertainment. A lot of people, I get a lot of flack. They're like, "Oh, you need to worship Kevin Samuel." Like, not today.
No,
you gotta be quicker than that. But the reality is, for me, I'm for all things logical. Right. So if it makes sense, pitch it to me. Let's talk about it. Right. My problem with Kevin Samuels is that he went so far off the beaten path to where it's illogical for people to form lasting relationships. Lasting and meaningful relationships are not contingent upon a woman's sexual marketplace value. It's not contingent upon a man's financial scale. Because the reality is his current financial position. Don't tell me nothing about how he manages his money. Doesn't tell me anything about his ideas around wealth and building and where we're going with this thing, right? Don't tell me none of that. And a woman being fine don't tell me anything about whether she was born a man. A woman being fine don't tell me anything about whether she had cosmetic surgery to look like she looked, and if my kids gonna come out looking like IMO. So the reality is, I feel like it sets people up for failure. I just do. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. And for a man to really go out there and say, and yes, I know there are men out there who really feel like that. For a man to say out of his mouth, "Oh, I don't want a woman unless she fine, boo, 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 boom," right? If that is really what that man is after, sweetheart, you can make 300, 400, 500, you could be a billionaire. It's plenty of billionaires that get those women that had 1 million surgeries. But you don't see them men dumb enough in the billionaire status to procreate with those women. You understand? Even Donald Trump. Yes, of course, he married. Let's not say what she was, but the point is, when he invested in her to have kids, he knew what he was investing. She was what she was born as. That flat booty, those flat hips, those flat, whatever you see in front of you is what you get. Okay? It wasn't a whole bunch of surgeries later. I don't have to question if my kids come out looking way different if I need to sue you. It's unrealistic, because what happens is now we have a society that's saturated with BBLs and cosmetic surgery to fix this or fix that, and liposuction for that, and you know what I mean? So nobody really knows the genetics that they're buying into when they're talking about extending their legacy. A man doesn't know the quality of a woman's mindset. When you start talking about a man doesn't want a woman that's educated, what kind of man you talking about? What traditional man you're talking about? Because traditional men that I know, they want a woman that can manage their finances and not screw up their money. They want a woman that they can trust her advisement because she's wise enough to know where to look, when to look, and how to guide him. Right? So the reality is, like, you have to have a realistic, in order for me to invest in anything that you spew on your channel, you got to just make it make sense for me. Okay? Like,
let me say this about Kevin Samuels. And we back in the years, we went back and forth with Kevin Samuels all the time. The pushback that I have with Kevin Samuels is that he didn't create a boundary about what he was talking about, and that's what confused a lot of people. But I went back and literally study his content and see exactly what he was talking about, especially during his latter years, all the way up and when he passed away. That's when I finally started understanding where he was coming from. See, when he was talking about the modern day women, when he was talking about women, you're just average at best, different things like that. He was only talking about a certain type of demographic of women who was going after these type of high level men. They just had it in their mind that they're gonna go after the athletes, they're gonna go after the millionaires and the billionaires and different things like that. So he was talking about them type of women and telling them that, hey, if you trying to be the certain way, you have to get up on a level if that's what you desire. If not, then it's better for you to just deal with a normal man, period. That was his whole point that he was trying to make, but that average his best video kind of diluted the overall message of what he was talking about. It just derailed the people.
But it was also his argument.
Yeah, it derailed. It went crazy. Yeah. And so us normal people, we start comparing that, like, okay, I know that I'm a 10 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you're a normal person. But he never was talking about us in that particular point. He was only talking about that certain type of demographic of women going after them certain demographic of men. And that's why he always got on them type of women every single time. Then the men tried to go back and say, well, yeah, I'm good and I'm just the same and everything. And that's when he had the men show telling them the same exact way. Like, dude, you're not on that level to talk to these type of women. Stay in your lane. That's pretty much what he was saying.
So I agree with that. I watched a tremendous amount of his content during the time that I was reviewing him. I only picked the ones that I really had quorums with. But my thing is, I didn't think that he was illogical on some of them, but I do think the way that he approached his content, I think that he became extremely extreme. It became more than prevalent that he was struggling with narcissistic personality disorder. Because the reality is, and I mean, and even on one of the videos, he admitted, he was like, well, I know I'm not a 10. I know I'm not a 10. You know? But
and that was his thing, that he never fitted in.
Yeah.
He really never did.
He started talking about how it is that he knew that he didn't qualify for certain women. But the reality is, the value of a person is not in their pockets.
Right.
The value of a person is not in their degree. The value of the person is at the heart of the morality of the person and what they do, the deeds, their mindsets, right? That guide and construct the behaviors. We have to learn to get back to that. Until we do that, we cannot build anything worth having. And then, like I said, marriage is not worth it because it's no longer an investment. You know what I mean? Long-term investment. So you're looking to get a return on whatever it is that you invest in. And there are a lot of novice investors out there, okay? There are a lot of advanced investors that lose big every day. But you know the difference between the novice and the experienced advanced investor after they lose big? The novice is out of the game. And they hate the game because they lost. The experienced investor.
Back to the drawing board.
The experienced investor, okay? He's there for the long haul. He has won big and he knows the risk before he gets in it. A novice does not know the risk associated with the gamble. So the reality is you have to know what the risks are. Going into a marriage, you got to know what the risks are. You got to assess the risk appropriately. You got to get to know the value of the capacity of the person you're investing in. And know what your return should look like. Like, if you don't know what it should look like, of course you're going to be disappointed at every turn. Of course you're going to be shocked at every turn.
Yeah, that's true, because people don't believe that marriage is transactional, but it is. It is absolutely transactional. You get what you put into it, for real.
I don't think that you get exactly what you put in it, but I think that you
get what you put into it. Not exactly, but you get it. Right. You get what you put into it.
Yeah, if you put forth a certain thing, you should get back a certain thing. You should have estimated what your take was going to be at every move, okay? And it's a game of chess. Like, you know, I had the conversation with my sons earlier, and And also, I always talk to my husband because I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Because clearly you ain't getting to the meat and the potatoes. Okay, let me get into your business a little bit. Okay, because I'm starting to see more of this modern world unfold and what I'm seeing in my men that I have spewed from my body. So, you ain't giving them the playbook, okay? And the reality is, like, we have a certain level of influence, and after our certain level of influence, the environment does take over to itself. But we have to be there to know how to correct and when to correct what the environment has been conditioned into our children, our offspring. It's knowing what and when. Strategical, right? Advice. So what I like to say is this: if you understand the game of chess, right? Because that's what the reference was with my son. He was like, well, who has their chessboard still? Who plays a chess game for that long? Make your move. And then we won't go so long. Right. Because I'm 3, 4, 5, 10 steps ahead of you, depending on where we at in the game. Like, who knows? How you know where we were? I kicked over the board. Why did you do that? I took a picture of the board. So let's set it back up. Let's go. I don't care what day it is of the month, of the week, of the year. We're going to continue the game. It just takes too long. Life is not about instant gratification.
Well, what life looks like.
It's about knowing how to properly maneuver yourself and position yourself to be able to win from the moves that you make and sometimes the sacrifices thereof. That's how you learn it. That's how you learn the game of life. You have to learn to teach your kids how to wait it out.
Your chess is about attacking with patience.
Exactly.
Strategically.
Yeah, it's about the strategy of moves and life and what it looks like to win. And the reality is, unfortunately, you have too many people out here trying to play the game of chess as if it is the exact same as the game of checkers, which it is not. It is not. So you gotta know how to teach, how to curate these young people. So my final thoughts and reflections are: the modern day women are very different from the traditional women in that they have lost sight of how valuable connectivity is, how important it is to have somebody. And they really do think, they are literally delusional. They think that they can live out this life, build this life by themselves. They really think they can. And when they cannot, they become overwhelmed and feel helpless and hopeless, and they tap out. They commit suicide. And that's the same thing for modern day men, because they're not ready to be patient and wait out the duration that it may take for them to win, because they can't see past the right now. All they can see is what's in front of them, and it's an obstacle. And the reality is they don't know what's on the other side of the obstacle. So why not tap out now? I know I've already done this, so I'm done. That's okay. I can settle with that. And I feel like that is the difference between your more traditional women. Traditional women were women and men who waited the course, who invested in the course of marriage. And that's what made marriage worth it, because you had two people working towards a common goal that aligned with a common spirituality. You understand? So that's really the huge component. When you take religion out of schools and out of homes and out of the teaching and out of the conditioning of people, and you say, oh, you can be whatever you want, whenever you want, and learn. Let the world teach you what you are, who you are, where you came from. When you do that, you create space for people to have no sense of a foundation in which to build their persona on, right? Their identity on. They have no culture. And what I hear in Black Americans every day, oh, so we ain't got no culture because the white man took it away. The white man never took nothing away from you. Not a single thing. Not a single thing. When you know, you know. Get to know your history. Don't go on Ancestry.com. Go to AfricanAncestry.com. If you really want to know the origin of the people that you're connected to, the tribes you're connected to in Africa, do AfricanAncestry.com. And find out why it is that the selected group of people that you are an extension of decided to divest. That's how you know the history. But who you are right now is defined off of the subculture of America. That is a different country. That is a different legacy that you're now extending yourself from. And you choose as to whether or not you invest in that legacy or you divest because you think something that somebody told you is true in a book somewhere on the shelf that somebody fictionized. I don't know. Do what you want to do with you. But the reality is you have to get to a place where you trust that what is given to you in the inner components of you is given to you by God, and know how to get to that. Meditation is real. Spirituality and prayer is real. You got to learn how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, YouTube University. So the thing is, like, I think modern day people have the game mixed up because they don't have the playbook. The playbook is out of the game because the people who were responsible for handing it down to you, your grandparents and great grandparents, etc., they just failed to do it because maybe they ain't like it. Who knows? But like I said, we choose what we choose when we choose because we know what we're interested in, right? When you go into that library, you can pick up the book and you can read it wherever you want to read, whatever you want to read. It's free. It's free 99, but you don't want to do it. So the reality is, look at how you're investing your time. And for that relationship topic, I don't even think I have words. I know she'll be in my thought, my reflections, my prayers, and I hope that her situation gets better because I thank God every day.
And maybe she will, the more she listens to him, the more she'll understand that one of the things he's telling her is to take that rose-colored glasses off so you can see what this really looks like, what's really coming down the pike. Because that if she keeps that glasses on, she's not gonna see.
Final thoughts and reflection, Urban.
Once again, appreciate y'all inviting me up like always.
You know we love you, bro. I haven't seen you.
We only invited you up so we could go against that. Have males been invalidated in society? We just want to prove that we are not invalidating males.
Shoot, y'all showed not. Shoot, we need our respect. Father Day is around the corner and everything. Shoot.
Yes. So Father's Day is around the corner. Ladies, if you have not gotten a gift for I can't wait the Thursday show. Y'all gotta check out Thursday. Thursday show, okay? You guys need to be logged in at 9 p.m. on Thursday Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
It's the show of shows, okay?
I'll be there. Right? We'll be there.
We talked about the top 5 for men tonight.
I gotta.
I'll pull up. I'm gonna revamp the list to make it entertaining too. So how about that?
You gotta come with it. Your list better be, boy. Your list better be something to contend with because the reality is, I know y'all ladies ain't gonna like it, and I got something for all of you in all age groups. I'm ready for the smoke. I told you, I don't care. Guys, go back, rewind, get my top 5, get Susanna's list of top 5. Let's get it. At the end of the day, y'all need to get yourselves together. If you're not ready for it, don't sit with it just yet. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Walk away. But the reality is, the word's still gonna be there, and YouTube and the internet is forever.
Just pay attention. Really.
Yeah. So I will see you guys back on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will talk about my list of top 5 things that women need to divest from and or start doing.
Oh, start doing, not stop doing.
Start doing. Some of the things they need to stop.
Start.
The other things they need to start. And y'all gonna get
expeditiously, by the way.
And I got a separate list for the different age group of women.
Oh God.
I came to play. What you talking about? For the men, it wasn't too hard because the thing is, y'all want to rag on men, but at least all of them sag across the board, regardless of what age they are. It looks ridiculous. But they all doing it. At least they consistent. Men get on some and they stuck for life. Women evolve into more craziness. I don't know what that means.
That goes with that age-old argument about men are simple and women are complex.
I think that
men are logical and women are emotional.
I don't know about men being logical now.
Men are logical. We are emotional.
I think men are emotional creatures.
No, they're afraid to be emotional.
Expressive. Men hold it in. That's why you see so much anger. Anger is an emotion. Men carry it. Women resolve it. So the reality is men are more emotionally expressive and reactive. And women are more emotionally expressive and reactive. Men are emotional and they harvest it and hold it and then they explode all at once. And then you feel
So you're trying to say men are docile with their emotions?
Oh yeah. I'm not expressing that to nobody. That's the whole point about effective get to being communicators. Men out here killing these women children because they don't know how to process their emotions appropriately.
Because other men says it's you're weak if you are emotional, right?
Yep, I think that has to do with women, and I can't wait until Thursday show. Let's get it. So, you guys, it has been real. Again, I thank you guys for sitting through and watching the show. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that like and the subscribe button. And if you have not already shared this content, what are you waiting for? Like, what's wrong with you? So that's it. That's all I got, you guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for sharing your perspective and your thoughts, you guys. And for those of you who have not commented yet and catch me on the replay, make sure you type replay so that I know you were here. And type a comment and let me know you were here, because I do now know how to check the comment. And I don't want people to think that I've been ignoring you, because I gotta admit, I did not know how to check the comments. I'm just now seeing comments from like a year ago. Ridiculous. Hey, listen, I'm not for these internet streets. And they just made YouTube even more complex. It's like they put the button up there that say podcast. I just listen. Y'all know better. Don't be trying to judge me. Judge your mama. Okay. That's all I got. You guys go out there, be a positive influence on someone else's life today. And also don't forget to be positive to yourself, be permissive with yourself, and be kind. Be gentle.
Be gentle with
yourself. And learn to express what's going on in there and bottled up. Men, stop killing these women, children, and committing murder, suicides, and stuff. Y'all getting weirder every day. I don't feel like I'm safe. I can't even go to the mall. I'm scared. And I'm never scared. It's weird. That's an emotion I've never experienced. Fear. No, seriously. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'll see you guys on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later days. Bye.
Bye.